Welcome back to another episode of Too Many Frames, the show where we talk about video games, anime, and everything else. First and foremost, I bet you're wondering, Amon, you look tired as hell. I am. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, but I mean, I just wanted to start recording now because I got a lot of shit to do throughout the week. I'm going to be going on vacation again for like about a good week, but I will be back like by the next time there's another episode for Too Many Frames. So there's gonna be multiple like content that's gonna be coming out while I'm away. So there will be some stockpiled stuff for y'all later on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into the show. Honestly, this is a Pokemon themed episode because we have like, dude, so much Pokemon news. So much Pokemon news. So Pokemon Worlds just happened. And it just actually concluded yesterday. And we got a lot of cool things. First and foremost, TCG Pocket is getting Mega Evolutions. We're getting a lot of cool things from that Mega set for Pokemon, like the actual official TCG. Pokemon Go is getting Eternamax, Eternatus, and all those Gigantamax, Dynamax raids are going to also be there as well. And of course, like the big meat and potatoes. First of all, we're getting a battle royale mode in Pokemon Legends ZA. Now, if you were there watching this shit, you were probably thinking beforehand, well, wait a minute, I thought they said there wasn't going to be any multiplayer. At least that's how I felt, because Legends Arceus didn't have multiplayer battles at all. You could trade, but you couldn't battle. You couldn't see your friend's, character at all. But shit, in this, you could do a lot more things. Obviously, I don't know, I'm really excited. I'm still really tired, but I will say, yeah, the game looks super sick. Very excited to see what they do with this for like future Legends games, but for the game that we're in right now, it looks really fun. And they're using the real-time battle aspects very interestingly. I was talking about this with my friend Nestor, that the one that we did the video with, talking about the future of Pokemon and all that. We were looking at it, bro. There were some very cool battle interactions. Like Simisear uses Substitute, which stops Gyarados from actually, attacking it because it has the doll up in front of it. And then it uses Nasty Plot behind the Substitute in like real time. So like strategies like that are going to completely change. And it's stuff like that that just feels so sick. Like I'm going to end up doing another video with Nesquik. We actually already have it recorded. I'm just going to edit it, upload it later. You'll see it probably like tomorrow or the day after, whatever. But it is extremely cool, like the way that they're changing so many things that we're so familiar with and allowing us to experiment and try new things, like Stealth Rock, Spikes, all that stuff that you see like happen in the anime. They have interactions and stuff. Like all that stuff is there, right? But they are new and they feel brand new. So I'm really excited, really, really excited to see how they, take this and expand upon it in future Pokemon games, right? Now, with that being said, they also announced that there's going to be a ranked battle mode in Legends ZA. This battle system is not going to be in Pokemon Worlds, which we already kind of assumed, because no Legends game was ever going to be, a part of the World Championships ever, because it's like usually seen as like a side game. But they officially announced that Pokemon Champions is going to be the main Pokemon game that will be a part of Pokemon Worlds. Sorry, the Pokemon World Championships. So usually we have like Pokemon games that are like, the two versions, and those two versions will end up being what we're playing competitive on. So like, for example, when Sword and Shield came out, the meta changed around Sword and Shield and people started playing competitively with that. And then when Scarlet and Violet came out, after Sword and Shield, people just swapped right on over to Scarlet and Violet, and we played competitive on that. And we've been on that for like 3-ish years, right? So because of that, now we're switching over to a completely brand new app. And it seems like Champions will be the main app for competitive going forward. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but dude, it is quite literally, like I said this shit. I have a video. I said this all the time, but I had a couple videos actually about Pokemon going forward should move away from not just turn-based stuff, like just like the Pokemon formula, like release wise, should be changed. And in order for like the games to actually become different and look better and just play better and stuff like that. So seeing them genuinely go out of their way to change something so drastic for them, like with like the biggest tournament for Pokemon, uh, and change like what game is being played there, which is also extremely accessible, is a big deal, extremely big deal. You can play that. You don't have, bro. I don't want to repeat everything that we said on the video, but the barrier to entry for Pokemon games is much lower. You don't need to buy a $500, $300 console plus the 60 plus whatever dollar game. You could just get the mobile app, however much your phone costs. Hopefully, it could run it. But usually, you'll probably have a phone already, and you don't even need Pokemon Home or all the other games. Like, sure, those give you a leg up, but for the most part, you're good, right? So on top of all that, they also have a Pokemon convention, like actual Pokemon Con. And this is something that is actually very interesting to see. So essentially, Pokemon XP is going to be running, it's going to be an event that runs alongside the Pokemon World Championships in 2026 in San Francisco. So what we are looking at right now is possibly like once again another big change in the way that Pokemon does things, right? They're going to have panels, like playable games and demos. I'm assuming this is just me assuming for the games and demos part, right? But they did say they're gonna have panels and creative things and autographs, signatures, stuff like that, like all that stuff at Pokemon XP. Now we don't know if this is going to be a thing that happens continuously. I think they're just gonna wait to see what demand is looking like. But if you're a Pokemon fan and you live in the United States or are willing to fly or travel to the United States, this is probably like the time to go to San Francisco, because they're gonna have Pokemon Center shops and all that stuff, you know, all those cool things that Pokemon fans like, and they will, you know, make essentially a thing. I don't know. It's hard because when you're a fan of Pokemon, right, and you're like a huge fan of Pokemon, you kind of want space where it's like just Pokemon, and the only thing that you kind of get from that is Worlds, and Worlds isn't as easy to just like, you know, kind of sign up for and just go to. You have to like, you know, find out when Worlds is happening, where it's happening, yada yada yada. I'm hoping that this is like always in San Francisco, at least, so that way this could be someplace in California that, you know, has something for people. At least I need it. I know California gets everything, but I need that. It's closer to me. At least for Pokemon Con. I don't know, Pokemon XP. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to see what they do with this. I think later on in the year we'll get more information, but the tickets will start going on sale on September 17th. But yeah, dude, we're in great hands right now when it comes to Pokemon. So I don't know, dude. Like, I'm very excited. I'm very tired also. I'm sorry I'm not getting 100% of my words out right now, but dude, it's so exciting to be like vindicated. In Nintendo news, sort of like Jason Pokemon news, right? We have an updated version of the patent that was going to have a top screen for the Nintendo Switch 2. So if you haven't heard of this patent before, it effectively has like the capabilities of having a top, like two screens on the Nintendo Switch 2, which I don't know what they're going to do with this in the long run, but it does seem like with everything going on in everybody's heads right now, so we're going to get somehow 3DS games put onto the Nintendo Switch 2, which I will be glad for them to do that. Now, what I also was thinking about before, because we've talked about this before on the channel, but my thing was, how are they going to distribute this, and how are they going to distribute the games? Because they have this thing called the Nintendo Switch Online service, right? Where they release a bunch of old games and will allow them to be played as long as you pay for the Nintendo Switch Online service, right? My whole thing is that I don't want to pay full price for these games again. Like if they were to bring like a bunch of 3DS games back, like let's say Fire Emblem Awakening, any of the Fire Emblem games, any of the Pokemon games that were for the 3DS and all that stuff, right? I don't want to pay full price for those because I've already paid for them full price. I still have my 3DS. Like that was like a generation-ish ago. I don't want to pay for that again. Now I know people were like, okay, well, but Amon, you know, like this will allow people to, you know, just have everything on one console, which I agree with. I think, yeah, having everything on one console from like the past generations and not having to like jump over to a bunch of other consoles is cool. But bro, this is still sort of recent for me. Like shit, I was considering buying another 3DS, but shit, if they have the peripherals to attach like a secondary screen on top of this screen and allows it to close, that would be very cool. I want to see them do it. But like I said, my only issue is that it's not looking very pocket friendly. Like I feel like a peripheral like that would probably cost roughly around like $100-ish, because it's like a whole secondary screen, and more than likely they'll have you pay for the games to help pay for the peripheral, unless they make the peripheral cheap and then you pay for it. But then also some people are gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna really own the games if they make it a Nintendo Switch Online only thing, and then it just becomes a whole thing. My personal hope is that it is like $50 and it's just like a regular LED screen or OLED or whatever LCD screen, whatever the Switch 2 screen is, right? And then you can just they find a way to like make it cheap enough to own these 3DS games, throwbacks and all that. And they probably will be download only because there's no way they're gonna release these back into like the wild and shit. But I want these games back. I want to be able to play these games. Like, and you can't buy a lot of the DLC for these games anymore. Like they already shut everything down. So I do think that we will eventually see something very, very soon from this patent. I mean, some patents have been pending for like years, but something tells me that in order to, even though they've had millions of people buy a Switch 2 like recently, I just do think that they're going to still want to like crush some records. And the biggest record that they could do, or sorry, the best way to do that is if they have like a way to play like DS, like classic DS and 3DS games on said console. But if it's Switch Online shit, that's probably not gonna be as fun. It's crazy though, because like a lot of things I want from the Nintendo shit is just to play old games. I guess I don't know. That's my retro game console, the Nintendo Switch 2. It's crazy. So James Gunn has officially announced the Superman saga for the DCU. Now, my whole thing is, right, a lot of people were very, very, very excited to see this movie and to see all these different things. And now people are like, well, we need another movie now. And it's like, I get it. I'm with y'all like 100%, but damn, like the demand for more Superman shit is extremely high, it seems like. So essentially, a lot of people are trying to think like, okay, well, what is the next Superman movie going to be? We already know that Supergirl is getting a movie next year, which will more than likely tie into whatever the third Superman movie is. But I do think that Supergirl is going to be like her own thing, because he said Superman's like saga, not. I feel like Supergirl, like even though she's very connected to Kal-El, right? Like she's not. She's also like her own character. So to me, it feels like we will more than likely see another solo Superman movie. But he did say some very interesting things before, where he's like, all right, what's the next movie or what's the sequel to Superman's going to look like? And he's like, well, what makes it a sequel or something like that? He said something very, very similar, which makes me think it's not going to be very like traditional. I guess kind of like how Batman versus Superman was technically the second Superman movie, even though it's not, but it is, but you know what I mean? Like, not really. So I'm wondering to see what he's going to do with all this. I'm hoping, my main hope is that he keeps building upon the DC universe with the second one. I was hoping that Superboy was a big part of this next upcoming movie, since we already technically know that. I mean, spoilers for the movie if you haven't seen it already. It is on digital. You can stream it now. Skip ahead, like, spoiler warning. We already know that Lex Luthor was able to clone Superman, right? So to me, it would make sense for Superboy to show up, right? But also they could do something where they end up making like a Bizarro cameo, since that like, Ultraman, right, got sent to a different universe seemingly because he got sent into a black hole, right? More than likely he could be put into a different universe and it's like Bizarro world, and he comes back and he's like Bizarro Superman. That could be cool. I don't know. There's a lot of cool things that they could do with another Superman movie. I just want them to stay within their realm of their own space of reality, because I feel like Marvel, the MCU, has completely just forgotten the plot, and it feels like they are constantly jumping from street level to cosmic level to fucking magical level to fucking just all types of shit, and they can't figure out where to stay at in terms of the MCU. And I get why, because Marvel is that, right? It has a bunch of different levels, but they can't figure out where to go, right? They want to do a grounded Spider-Man movie while also having him show up in an interdimensional crisis with, Doctor Doom, which is fine. Like I said, it's fine, but they don't ease you into it. That's my issue with the Marvel movies. Like as of recently, they don't necessarily ease you into it. I think what made Endgame, Infinity War, and all that stuff so perfect is that it felt like there was a lot of midway points, right? And I think somebody on Twitter said this recently, like, I think people liked a lot of Marvel movies before because they had like a good Avengers project that brought everything together. We have not had any put people together movie at all that made people excited to see these movies, because a lot of people for some reason just like to watch movies to get hyped for a different movie. Like they'll watch a project and be like, man, this other project's gonna be crazy. And they don't learn how to like love the project that they're currently watching. They're like, no, I'm excited for the next thing, which I mean, I guess I'm guilty of doing that shit too. I do that a lot too. I think that's why I'm clocking it so bad. But I do think people need to like rein in their expectations like a wee bit in order to make, their enjoyment of whatever comes out from this to be a bit better. But like I said, excited for DC shit. Marvel, I'm very, very, very skeptically, like hesitantly waiting to see how y'all fuck this shit up. So we will see. I will still be excited. I want to see Doom on the big screen, but I'm expecting you guys to fail. I hope you know that. I'm expecting this to go to shit, but maybe I'm just a hater. I don't know. Anyways, that is going to be the end of today's episode of Too Many Frames. Not a lot of stuff happened. Like this past week, I mean, Worlds happened, so that's cool, and I love Pokemon, so I'm gonna talk about Pokemon whenever I get a chance. But yeah, with that being said, though, if you guys do want to check out other videos, I got a couple videos coming out very, very soon. I have other videos that just recently came out. My Donkey Kong review should be coming out also very shortly. And when I am on vacation that break week, there will be like a couple little videos for y'all to watch that might satiate your palate like just a wee bit. Okay. So with that being the case, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.